Settling down. You settle down at that juncture. If you don't have loving words, kind words, beautiful words from your own spouse, it's not going to work long. Even if you're at a distance, but you keep on speaking to your spouse, telling them how much you miss them, how much you love them, how much you respect them, how much you appreciate them, how much, everything else, how much you just keep looking at their whatever, face on your phone or whatever else, that's your spouse at the end of the day. Those are words, they're an investment, not just for the hereafter, even in your own relationship. Even in your own relationship. Wow, everyone loves to be appreciated. We only pick on the food when there's something wrong with it. What about the millions of times we've eaten when we didn't even think of the fact that there was nothing wrong with this food? So these words mean a lot. Watch your words. I have come to learn that many people behave the way they behave because of how they were spoken to and treated when they were young. I want to say that again, because people don't take this seriously. From amongst us, nearly all of us, the way we behave and the way we actually speak, very closely, the way we are, even, people say it's my nature, my character. That character was developed at some stage. And there was a big role, not necessarily the entire role, in fact, not the entire role, a big role played by how you were treated and spoken to as you were young and you grew up, and what happened in your life. You lost a parent, a deficit, how was it filled? It wasn't. What happened? A lot of the young boys and girls on drugs, sometimes with mental, illness and so on. Some of them, there are issues, a lot of them in fact, there are issues that they cannot cope with. There are issues that have transpired in their lives. Had they happened to you, you'd have been a bigger goner than anyone else. And they are struggling. Reach out to them. You don't just look at a child who's struggling with mental issues or with anything else and say, oh, this person's mad. No. What did they go through? What's my responsibility? What should I do? What has happened in this child's life? What made it such that the child got to where they are? Very, very important. We don't look at it that way. And we think, well, we're Muslim, your iman is weak. What iman? Who nurtured that iman? Who spoke to the child? Who actually gave the child respect? You want your child or the others to grow up properly, your spouse, whoever else? Amazing. You just need to respect them. And they will learn and automatically not only respect themselves, but how to respect others, how to talk, how to look at everyone else. You didn't spend time with them. There's something that's going to go wrong in their lives. The deficit will be filled in another way. A lot of the children and others are hooked onto pornography. Why? There is a reason sometimes. It goes back to somewhere. So why am I talking about it if already they're on it? I'm talking about it for the sake of all of us to change the way we treat others, especially those in our circles. Not all your children will be the same. Not all your brothers and sisters will be the same. Part of that balance that you desperately need is family. You need family. You might think, I'm independent, I don't need family. In order to have that balanced life, if Allah's blessed you with siblings, He wants you to make an effort to go out and resolve matters. That is called Silatul Rahim in Islam. It is a powerful, massive topic. And Allah says, I will mend with those who mend with their relatives. Subhanallah. He calls it Rahim because it's from Rahmah. It's from mercy. So the womb is called the place of mercy. Subhanallah. Because you related through the womb. Be kind. Go out of your way to solve matters, problems. And in this way, Allah will not only elevate your status, but you have a balanced upbringing. Resolve your matters. Don't allow them to get into the next generation. Sometimes you have a problem with your brother because of the wife, or the sister because of the husband, or because of another reason, because of business. A lot of the times we have problems because of money. Wallahi, the relationship is more valuable than the money. Because I tell you what, your children, if you allow that matter to get into the next generation, you're messing up the whole ummah. We are fragmented into such pieces that there seems in the eyes of the onlooker no hope to bring this ummah together. But Allah will. For us, we see 4 pieces, they're making 8. From 8, they're making 16. So we have to say, there's only hope in the mercy of Allah. But from our eyes, we don't see really that things are getting any better, they're getting worse. People in this ummah are killing one another. People in humanity, the children of the same Adam and the same Eve, are literally butchering each other. For what? They don't have respect of one another. Intolerant. How do you address the matter of those who differ with you in your home? If you just come in, that guy's a kafir, astaghfirullah, you guy doesn't, the way you word things, be respectful. You can tell your child, we have a few differences, but mashallah, that's what I do. We have differences, we have strong disagreements, but mashallah, they're human beings, they're doing a little bit of good work as well, etc., etc. This is with people whom we differ with completely, but does everyone talk like that? No. In a lot of our homes, we're swearing and shouting at people, sometimes scholars who belong even to the same sect, and not only scholars but others, just because of one thing we may not have understood, or two, or a little bit more or less. That's all. And what did we do? We destroyed the child's upbringing completely. When your child, astaghfirullah, let's not say your child, when the child is on drugs and committing crimes and jailed, etc., perhaps if they were inclined slightly towards that particular person you had a problem with because of one thing, they might have been saved from all of this. Who knows? And this is why what's becoming more and more important. We were asked a question here, what do you do in your spare time? And don't say, I don't have any. The brother asked me, what do you do? Initially, just to have a laugh, I said, I don't have any spare time. What do you do in your spare time? I said, I don't have any. And we had a good laugh. Then I said, Wallahi, if I were to tell you the honest truth, I spend that time with my family. All of it. All of it. What's my hobby? Spending time with my family. It's my hobby. I'm always back at home. I'm always with my family. Do you know why? I learned over the years, one of the best gifts you can ever give your family, be it a spouse, children, or any one of your family, spend time with them. That's it. And not spend time doesn't mean I'm at home, but I'm on my phone. No. You're at home, you talk to them, you play with them, you come to them, you have tea with them, you sit with them, you tell them how much you love them, how much you care for them, you look at them, you smile at them, you see them. You don't just pick on everything. Dad, you're hardly at home, and when you come home, you're picking on everything here. Why don't you spend a bit more time at home? We'll see. I remember there was a man, when I was in India at one stage, and a man came to me, he was a revert. And he says, I'm a muadhin at this masjid. This is a true story, okay? So, he said, I'm a muadhin at this masjid, and I do the adhan here. So now, the guy who's running the show here, meaning they call him a mutwalli, right? The guy who's actually in charge of the masjid. He's telling me, you don't know how to make adhan, you don't know how to make adhan. Now, what do I do? So I told him, brother, I'll teach you, over time. Let's hear your adhan. His adhan was okay. I said, you know what, do me a favor. This guy tells you this every day. He said, yes. I said, do me a favor. Brother, can you move the chair slightly because we're doing a little recording from the front there. So I said, do me a favor. Tell this man yourself that, you know what? Can you please call the adhan once and I'll copy you. Right? Call the adhan once. And he knew that he didn't know how to call the adhan. So when this man went to him and told him, you know what, I really want to learn the adhan, so why don't you do it today? And I'll call the adhan exactly how you call it. Sadly, the young man was fired. Astaghfirullah. He was fired. Because obviously, this guy took it as an insult. I don't know how to make the adhan. What are you telling me to make it work? But the moral of the story was 2-3 things. Number one, I shouldn't have told him that. I had to look for another job for the same brother. Because obviously, he was fired as a result of my advice. Secondly, you know what? It's an ego issue. You don't know how to call the adhan properly, and you're trying to instruct someone to do something you yourself cannot. Why I'm giving you this example is because a lot of us as parents, or even anyone in a responsible position, we come to our children and the others in a way that we ourselves are not. You tell your child, I don't want you to watch porn, and you're deeply involved, and the child catches you. Wallahi, I get messages from people saying, I caught my mom doing this. My mom's having an affair with the guy down the road. Wow. And the child is 14, 15. Or my dad. My dad's, I've seen his phone, dirty messages from this, and what do you do? They ask me what to do. I've learned a lesson because you give them some little piece of advice to say confront, and suddenly there's a big disaster that they need help. So So this thing messes the brain. Why? It's an action. They look up to you naturally from Allah. Allah makes your children look up to you when they see that you've done something that is a huge blunder. You know, when I was young, I'm going to tell you something that might make you laugh, but it's a fact. I, at a certain stage, believed that parents don't pass wind. That's how perfect the parents were. I won't tell you when that changed. But subhanallah, you then learn that, you know what, they're just human as well. But that's a God-given respect. From the beginning, you look up, that's your dad. That's your mum. They're like the queen and the king of the whole world. Don't spoil that. I've always said that, you know what, a lot of us have kids while we ourselves are still kids. We haven't even grown up, man. We can't even quit a habit. You can't quit porn. You can't even quit an affair that you're having, and you've got kids. Are you okay in your head? They say, yeah, there's no problem. Who said I can't have? Just be responsible. You know why? Your actions are equally powerful. I spoke about words. Now I'm telling you about actions. Your actions are so powerful, my brothers and sisters, that Allah has instilled in that mind, computerized, which is receiving the programming at the early age, such that only by acting without even speaking, the child will mimic you completely. How many of our children at the age of 1, they can barely communicate with you besides with the and the ooh, you know, and they want to do salah with you. They're in sujood with you. They fight for your burqa. They fight for, you know, your kufia if you're wearing one. That's what they call it in Cape Town. Your headgear, your clothing. They want to dress like mom or dad or whoever else. They want to come to the masjid. They want to be with you. You know why? Can't you think Allah's instilled in this child a certain type of receiving device that receives from the parents or those who are around, and those who are elderly, who have been responsible for the upbringing of the child? Automatic reception. It's Allah. It's there. It's like a connected, strong Wi-Fi, completely, all the time. Whatever comes in here goes in there. Whatever comes in, your words, your actions. Subhana Rabbi al-A'la. That's why, my brothers and sisters, on the day of judgment, we need to be worried about our words and our actions. Those are the things that will actually make us or break us. We've made others or broken them with our own words and our actions. We need to be careful. Let's build people. Build your children. Promise from today. You go home, your spouse, your kids, your sisters, those you interact with, those that come to lessons and those you go to school with, and those, no matter what field you're in, you address everyone with absolute respect.